What's happening, YouTube? Welcome to the Mr. Winslow channel. I am Mr. Winslow, your host, and today we're going to be tackling a subject of utmost importance in not only the African American community, but also in the U.S. community. This particular topic deals with real justice. Now, first and foremost, let me just say that I do believe that criminal justice is an oxymoron. Number one, criminal justice equals justice for the criminal. A criminal is the chief opponent of justice. Therefore, criminal justice is an oxymoron. The criminal is on one side of the fence, justice is on the other. The criminal is the chief opponent of justice, and neither the two shall meet. However, in the United States, we have seen a huge merging between crime and justice. We have seen justice work on the behalf of the criminal, and this is something that definitely needs to change. We're going to be discussing some possible solutions for this, and I do believe that once this video blog is over, you'll come to see that we don't need criminal justice, but what we need is real justice. So let's get started. We have seen in the United States wealth determine righteousness. We have seen favoritism fueled by race, and we have seen favoritism fueled by sex. Yes, wealth determined righteousness comes in a person being as guilty as sin, yet they have deep pockets and can afford a good lawyer to get them off. We have seen favoritism fueled by race. Yes, the court systems have expunged a person based upon the color of their skin. And we have seen the court systems play favorites with people based upon their particular sex. We have seen this before. But Mr. Winslow, what would be an example of real justice? We've heard about the top 3 ills that affect the justice system of today, but what is going to turn those things around and set us on the path of real justice? Well, I'm glad you asked. Number one, we must make prison a place that people loathe with a passion. Loathe is the same thing as hate dearly. If you loathe something, that means that you are very opposed to this thing and you don't want to see it anywhere in your experience. We must make prison that way. Prison must not be a place that people can brag about once they get out. Prison should not be a place that people brag about and say, well, you know what, I'll probably do a little time. That'll give me a chance to catch up on a lot of old friends, and I'll get some tattoos, and when I get out, I'll be able to go home and they'll throw a big party for me. No. Prison should not be a place that you brag about. Prison should instead be a place that you loathe with a passion. We must concentrate on that as number one. Number two, there should be swift execution of serial killers, mass murderers, and violent criminals from foreign countries. This is so self-explanatory that it's not even funny. A serial killer, a mass murderer, and a violent criminal from a foreign country represent the worst of the worst. These are people that are unrepentant killers. These are people that would kill you just as soon as bat an eye. So definitely impose a swift execution for these particular people. Yes, I do believe that the taxpayers should get a break on something like that, because a serial killer is definitely an unrepentant murderer. You wouldn't want a serial killer living next door to you. You certainly wouldn't want to have a mass murderer babysitting for you, and you certainly would not want to have a violent criminal from a foreign land saying, I have a contract out on you, so I'm going to take out everybody in your office just to get to you. No, this is something that we must not tolerate. And number three, we should mete out harsh penalties for people who lie on one another, especially during a rape trial or a molestation trial. YouTube community, how many times have we seen situations where there have been cases where a person lied on another person? Now, that person who was lied upon received a huge fine. They got massive jail time. And then when the truth was found out, maybe a decade or two later, the only thing that that person who lied could say was, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to lie on that person, but it just seemed like the right thing to do at the time." No. I believe that in order for real justice to be served, that person who lied should serve the term of the person they lied upon. In fact, make it a double sentence. Yes. Because if you were going to ruin someone's life in that fashion, then you deserve the very worst that the justice system has to offer. In closing, YouTube community, I do remember a time when I stayed in an apartment complex where there were a rash of robberies going on. Yes, there were young boys and they were going around thinking they were tough and they were breaking people's apartment complexes and stealing things. Well, one day, the people of the apartment complex took the law into their own hands. They managed to grab one of the boys who was in the gang. Yes, let's say there were 10 boys in the gang. Well, they managed to get one of those boys. They beat that boy within an inch of his life. When the police and the paramedics came, they asked, did anyone see it? Everyone said no. Now, I'm not saying that I believe in street justice because that's exactly what that young boy received. I do not believe that the world should just anarchy up and just take justice in their own hands. No. But what I am saying is that we need to, number one, realize that prison must be a place that people loathe. We must also have swift execution of serial killers, mass murderers, and violent criminals from foreign lands. And we must mete out harsh penalties for people who lie on one another during rape and molestation cases. I do believe that these three things are going to put us on the path to having a productive justice system in the United States. Until next time, YouTube community, from the studios of Mr. Winslaw, God bless.